What is going on, everyone? I am live with Jason from Stray Basilisk. We're here starting a new series, so I am absolutely certain that we're going to have lots of issues with the start here. Never really done anything like this. Um, we set it up as best we could, but I am certain that there are going to be a few bugs. So be sure to point those out in chat. I'll be trying to read chat as much as possible. Um, However, I'm obviously going to be interacting with Jason because that's the point of the show. But hello, everyone coming into the stream. It's nice to see you guys. Uh, but yeah, be sure to point out any issues, audio issues. I'm sure they will be very prevalent. Uh, but yeah, so let's get after it. So I guess Jason, if you just want to kick off with who you are and what you do for your studio, you can feel free to start with that. Phenomenal. I see you have a little poster behind you as well. Little artwork. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Uh, oh,
much 2,000 flyers is. It weighs 10 kilograms. It's a box like this big,
oh, really?
and I've begun to realize it's impossible to get rid of them. As we start like airdropping them, I'm going to have this box of flyers forever, I think.
Yeah. Is it fixed? I think you were muted at the start. So if you maybe want to repeat what you said. Oh, there's my cat. That's Lana. Is it good? I think it should be good now. Yeah.
Are we okay? I'm not sure if that was on my end or.
I don't think so. 100% was on my end. I think I buffed it out. How
We
does
can
the
play
audio
Discord. That's the good
Yeah,
plan. So.
it definitely doesn't help that we're on different continents either. It works now. Good to hear.
Cool.
Anyway, to summarize, that's Jason. He's 1/3 of Stray Basilisk. Basilisk. I'm gonna try my best to not stutter.
Yeah, we're realizing like some people have problems pronouncing this name. Like
I thought it was a really
maybe it
cool
was a
name.
mistake. But.
No. It gives you a little bit of oh, I can't think of the right word, but it's a very good name. I can say that. So you are the programmer, correct? Now,
Yeah, basically.
Does anyone else? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So we're a small indie crew, so naturally we all wear a lot of hats. So Steamhounds was initially my project, and I started off kind of programming up a prototype, and then I got the two other guys joining in to collaborate, and we now pretty much equally share the kind of game design side of things and the whole kind of business and admin angle of it. We kind of split that amongst each other as best we can.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely. I can speak from experience a bit. It's definitely a bit difficult to kind of balance that and bring your oddball talents. Kind of trying to bring them together to create something so complex. So I know that can be a very difficult thing to do.
It's not made easier by the fact that we're kind of spread across the globe, or at least two continents. So I'm based just outside of London. Andrew's on the East Coast, and then Paul is on the West Coast of the US. So we're all in different time zones.
Right.
Like luckily I'm a night person, so we managed to find a time that kind of works for us to have our regular meetings and stuff. But yeah, sometimes that causes issues.
Yeah, that's actually one of my first questions I kind of wanted to ask about as I was thinking about over the course of the day. So like I literally, it's this shoulder. I literally live with the other guy that's a part of my studio. So obviously it's a bit easy to communicate. You know, we can have just like whiteboards of stuff and whatever. So I did kind of want to talk about that if you didn't mind. What complications have arose, or and then how do you deal with those complications of not being near each other?
Yeah. So the first one, as I said, is just kind of time zones and finding a time which we're all able to kind of meet. So we try and meet like once or twice a week, and we do that over Skype or over Discord or something like that.
Gotcha.
We're not all kind of full time on the project. Like some of us at least have kind of other jobs, so we have to kind of arrange our schedule around that kind of stuff as well. Luckily, we're only 3 people though, right? So we're still at the scale where we can all know what everyone else is working on. and
Hmm.
check in and
Sure.
pretty much talk about everything that we're doing. Like if we were up to like 5 or 10 people, then we'd have the problem of not only not all being in the same room, but really not being able to keep track of everything that's going on. So
Right.
it's not
Yeah.
so bad. It's it getting more difficult if we grew
Yeah.
much
Definitely.
beyond this.
Definitely. Uh, so that's yeah, that's interesting. I wish you the best. I think it's very it's a very difficult thing to kind of grasp that concept because you already have so many things pushing against you as an indie
Mm,
developer. You know what I mean? Like there's
yeah,
already so many forces. Like I was reading an article the other day about Call of Duty World War II, and it basically summarized that they estimated that that campaign that they spent about $10 million on that campaign, right? That's something that not a single indie developer
mm,
on the market has to work with. So that compounded with, as a general rule, you probably don't have the background that most of these people have. You don't have as
yeah.
much
And
experience,
10 million isn't even like right at the top end of the cost of these things, right?
right?
So it's true that people say that games are getting easier to make, and that is true kind of technically,
Right.
but the demands and what people expect in terms of like content and particularly kind of artwork and stuff,
Yeah,
that's a
that's the
big part of the
big.
reason why some games are so expensive to produce, right? Is because they've got the same amount of artwork as like a big budget, like Hollywood production. So that's
Right.
why it costs tens of millions and takes like hundreds of man years to make these things.
Right, absolutely. I think yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily think about too is like yes, it has gotten easier to make games as time goes on, but expectations have gone uh, arguably exponentially higher than that, right? Like
Yeah.
you look back in the day, like if I can't think of a great example, but lots of games that came out for the Nintendo like 64 or whatever, if that came out today, people might be like, well, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like everyone would be like that, kind of,
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
And then
have to,
even before that, in the earlier kind of era, games were very typically made by like one person. Like the programmer would also do the art and all the
yeah,
design and pretty much make everything, or maybe like 2 or 3 people.
right,
And these were like the big name, like published games of the time, right? Like
right,
on Atari and
yeah,
the old
absolutely,
consoles and like 8-bit
right,
stuff.
right,
And I guess we're kind of getting back around to that with indie games.
yeah,
They can, I guess, for indies they can't, or very rarely can they compete in terms of like graphical fidelity and artwork and content with these big titles. So they have to find other niches, right? Which is why
absolutely,
like, pixel art and retro stuff is so popular.
yeah,
And I don't know, you see some games which are really kind of beautiful, right? You have things like I don't know, something like Limbo,
oh
which has a really
yeah,
nice aesthetic and appeal to it, but
yeah,
it's because it's like very stylized and like simplified in a way. So
definitely,
things like that are still possible to produce and they still look really good, but for the most part, indies are focusing on other areas to try and stand out.
yeah. That.
And again,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, and again, like we were saying, it's getting easier to implement games, and maybe this is kind of moving the subject on a bit, but what's also getting harder is getting your game noticed and out there.
Yeah, that's the key
But
too. Is like, this is something me and my roommate were talking about literally like 30 minutes ago. Is you're kind of at this point in gaming, right, where um, pretty much everyone has access to making a game, whether or not
mm,
they are using other like marketplace assets. Like that's a very common thing with Unreal Engine developers. Is like people will just use assets that they buy, and now you're getting to the point where like that's frowned upon too. Um, but anyway, kind of back to my main point. It's like when Steam was just like, we'll just allow everyone. Why not? So like whoever wants to make a game, we're not going to curate it at all. You kind of run into the issue of there's just this overpopulated market where people that are dedicating tons of man hours to making a game are getting overshadowed by someone that's just kind of putting a few lines of code in, stealing a bunch of art assets and stuff from other people, and then putting that on Steam for
yeah,
$5. So you run into that issue too. Which
like if you look on, sorry,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say I don't necessarily like. I don't think it's a bad thing to use other people's assets and stuff like that. I don't necessarily frown on that because if they're out, oh, sorry about my mic. If they're out there, they might as well be utilized. And if like for example, if you're a one person studio and your background is completely in programming and you have no idea like modeling, texturing, all the things that go into that, I can understand why. Okay, well let's put out there what I can do and hopefully be able to grow something as a result of that. So I don't think it's a bad idea, but
Yeah, like if you've got an idea for like a gameplay mechanic or some like technical thing which you think you can pull off, then that's good, and that's kind of valuable, right? That kind of
right,
adds to gaming as a whole. That's a new tool that people can use, and people can riff off of that and integrate it into their own games. But that's
yeah,
probably not enough to be a commercial success and to like be able to keep your bills paid and food on your table,
yeah,
which is kind of a
yeah,
shame because you want those kind of contributions to the community or like the industry or like the craft or the art of game development, whatever you want to call it.
right,
But it's kind
yeah.
of hard to sustain. Like if you look on Steam now, it's something like 20 plus releases per day on Steam.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
Another stat I heard is that something like 70% plus of games released on Steam don't make enough money in their first year to pay like a minimum wage salary like for one person.
yeah.
So for the
That's
majority of people releasing games, it's not a sustainable job.
right.
Yeah, so the whole discoverability thing, which nobody has really solved yet. There are people trying things.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know what the answer is to that, but that's still a big problem.
I
And
think.
another stat I heard just the other day is that if you look at the number of reviews games get on Steam on their first day, um, I think it's 30% gets at zero, 50% get less than 10 reviews,
Hmm,
and then it's only like the 20% who get more than 10 reviews on release day,
yeah,
which is kind of crazy.
it is, and a lot of the problem too is, so you run into things like, I hate to talk about it, but you run into things like Fortnite, and they're able to put this game out for free because they know people will play it. They know people will play it. They know people will buy skins, and they can just do that. And it's the most popular game of all time, right? As an indie
Hmm.
developer, when you release a title, something that, like, I can't speak to every studio, but something that realistically takes, for an average person, a pretty substantial monetary investment, you can't do that because, like, okay, you might have, uh, some sort of following or whatever, right? But that doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily turn into, okay, for example, for your studio, splitting, three ways. If you want to sell your game for $5, you sell one game and that's like, $1.33 a piece or whatever it comes to. I'm
hmm.
not great at math, but
Yeah.
but
Like none of us are trying to get rich from this, right? Like I'm
right,
a programmer. I could make a pretty decent salary like just doing corporate IT programming work.
sure,
If I wanted to have a stable kind of income and make good money, that's what I'd be doing.
right,
Um, so most people don't go into games to kind of become millionaires. But yeah,
yeah,
just to break that boundary of like having it be a sustainable like career basically as an
yeah.
indie kind of
Well,
a thing. And it's the same for people working at AAA studios as well. You
mm,
hear a lot of big high profile cases of studios having to let all of their people go or kind of crazy like crunch working conditions and stuff. So it's not easy for really anyone,
yeah.
at least at the ground level kind of in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, you see complications all the time, like the whole Bethesda thing that just came out, the whole issue they've been having. I mean, you have tons of issues, and I think some people are trying to solve it and make, a better, I guess, situation for indie developers because, and the kicker, the real kicker of it too, is if you do well, a lot of times it's because you're presenting something that no one's done before, right? you're
Mhm.
you're presenting this new gameplay mechanic or what have you that just hasn't been done previously. So a lot of times that can get picked up and that can really hit the railways and you can hit publishers and stuff like that, but
Yeah,
that's not the reality for most developers. So
yeah,
but
and
I
that's not even enough, right? Like having a decent game is like that's the minimum bar for entry
yeah,
because there's a lot of good stuff out there. You also, on top of that, need some level of like business sense or
yeah,
to be able to like talk about or promote your game in some way, right? Just putting it out there. You can't just put it onto Steam and
right,
hope that people find it. That really doesn't work anymore.
yeah, yeah. You have to. yeah, that's really where the issue comes down to, is it's not even necessarily making the game. Like obviously that's hard, right? Like obviously that's not an easy
Yeah,
thing. But you can make the most phenomenal game ever, but like if you aren't good at artwork and the image for it on Steam isn't good, you'll probably never get anyone clicking on it. It's just like the silliest stuff, you know. So it's kind of a shame. And like you were saying earlier, there are like, mediums out there that are trying to change the way of, AAA titles just dominating the market.
mm,
Like for example, I think in like the Gamers Awards this year, there's like an indie game of the year section, and like stuff like that is cool. You know what I mean? But those are the people that already made it. You know what I mean? Like, how do you find the little guy
yeah.
that's
I mean,
that's just like,
a lot of the big indie hits are made by people who have previously worked in the industry and have some kind
hmm
of experience or connection. So a lot of them don't come completely out of nowhere.
right,
A lot of them have either released a load of games which have gone completely unheard of, or they've worked on like stuff which you probably will have heard of before
right, yeah,
in like a AAA studio or something like that, and then broken off to form their little kind of indie crew.
right,
But I suppose one thing that helps is, aside from like how Steam or the storefronts like promote stuff, and I don't know exactly what the solution is to how they should be doing that. But another thing that helps is like streamers and YouTubers, right?
hmm
That's becoming the way that people find out about games, and social media kind of on top of that.
yeah,
So it's not just like back in the day when you'd have the big like review magazines and they'd have their connections with publishers, and that's pretty much how people would find out about stuff. At least now you have a chance to be picked up by a streamer or a YouTuber or something like that, and
right,
kind of get found out in that way. But you
yeah.
still have to hustle to some extent to kind of make that happen.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more of a grind than it really needs to be. But like I said, there's people out there helping, and I think we'll continue to see indie developers grow as time goes on. I don't know if you heard, Epic Games, Unreal Engine, Fortnite, they actually released, or they discussed, I think it just came out maybe today or yesterday, that they're doing a new marketplace for games in their launcher. And
Hmm.
it's just like the craziest thing. They're doing a better split than any other like marketplace does. I think it's like 88-12. Um,
Yeah,
and they're even doing like, I'm sure you've seen like YouTubers are like, buy this thing and here's a discount code, and then they get some of the money from that. Epic is doing that as well. And I guess the YouTuber or whatever streamer will get 10%, and Epic's paying half of that. So you only have to pay 5% of the sales, and they're doing some cool stuff. Um, so again, there are people out there that I think want to help, and kind of recognize that there are lots of good new ideas that are coming out of the indie section of gaming, I suppose. So
yeah. I think that's a positive thing. Like, yeah, because you said the split they're looking at is something like, yeah, 12 to like 88 or something like that, right? And
yeah,
traditionally it's always been 70-30. I think pretty much all the app stores, Steam, the developer takes
splits.
70% and
Yeah,
the store owner takes 30. And maybe it's just because that's always the way it's been. I don't see that as too big of a problem. Obviously it's not ideal for the developer, but there aren't
right.
that many developers who are, as far as I'm aware, at the point where getting that extra 10% will make the difference. Like, it's
Yeah,
still worth it to be on Steam because it gives you, potentially puts you in front of so many gamers.
right. Yeah, that's the
So those
thing.
few percentage points may not make a difference, but at least it's a gesture of kind of goodwill, I
Good
guess, if
faith.
nothing
Yeah,
else.
and at the very least, will hopefully drive other people to kind of conform to that. You know,
Yeah,
because when you're getting put on the platform that's hosting right now the most popular game, more people are going to be interested in going towards that route, and especially that Steam isn't curated, and this is going to be curated now, right? Like people that are making high quality games are going to be like, well, to heck with Steam, like you were saying, there's 20 games posted every day. You're just going to get buried under the sea. If I submit my game and it's good and it gets approved by Epic, that's potentially a way bigger deal than getting found on Steam. You know,
yeah.
so it could be
And, and,
interesting.
and so Discord is also jumping in on this, right? So they're opening up their store as well, which as far as I know, at least initially, is kind of also like a more curated
Yeah, that's
kind of
what it
thing.
seems
So,
like.
I mean, it's good that there's more competition out there.
Yeah, I'm always down
That,
for
that can only be a good
competition,
thing, right?
especially when before the only one really in the market was Steam. I mean, they
Mm.
used to be great. They used to be phenomenal. Their sales are still really good and stuff like that. But again, when they decided to be uncurated, to me that was kind of the nail in the coffin for that being the main medium for indie developers. But we'll see. I still think every indie developer is gonna post their game on Steam, because why
Yeah,
not? But you know, I think potentially in the future we could see a shift, which would be nice. But
yeah.
um,
It's tough because people already get annoyed with how social media like feeds them stuff like through an algorithm, right? The way that suggestions
exactly.
come to you. But maybe that's also kind of needs to be the solution for something like Steam and how they put games in front of people.
Yeah,
So I don't know how you kind of balance that, right? You want
hard to say.
good suggestions for stuff you might like, which will dig up lesser known things, but you also don't want the tyranny of like this inscrutable algorithm kind of curating your feed for you. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
kind of a tricky one.
It's always a hit or miss. There's always pros and cons to everything, I suppose. But so I got a few questions here that I kind of want to dive into. I'm sure we could rant about this all day, but I do want, as this is called the Indie Showcase, do want to showcase your guys' studio and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So first, like we said, like I had discussed with you previously, I'm a bit curious on how you met the other two members of your studio, and then also your guys' backgrounds and stuff like that. So if you want
Yeah,
to hit
sure.
on that.
So I'm somebody who's always so my background's in programming. So I did a computer science degree, and after I graduated, I was working in like corporate IT, doing like website backend stuff
Okay.
for several years. But throughout my life, I've always dabbled in kind of game development as a hobby.
Sure.
So I basically got like an endless archive of like old prototypes for stuff, which I created and then got bored with, and then moved on when the next like great idea came along.
Yeah.
Um, and it was kind of a combination of two things that led to the creation of Steamhounds and Stray Basilisk. The first one was that I was like 5 or 6 years into my career after graduating, and I thought before I get too entrenched in this and down this kind of default path of like corporate IT work, I'm going to see if I can make a go of being an indie dev, being a game dev.
Why not? Yeah, I
Um,
love it.
yeah, um, because why not? This is basically my last. Maybe not. Maybe I'm being overly dramatic, but it felt like okay, this is the opportunity to do it right before I've got kids and like too many
Right.
responsibilities and a mortgage and all of this stuff to deal with. Now's as good a time as any. And secondly,
Absolutely.
I was fed up of having so many sort of unfinished prototypes in my back catalogue, and I really wanted to finish something and get something out there.
Yeah.
So when the idea for Steamhounds came along, I thought, okay, this actually has some promise to it. This is going to be the one that I see through to completion and actually launch. Um, I guess we haven't talked at all about what kind of game it is. So I'll give you the a very brief intro, and then I'll kind of
Sure.
get
Yeah.
back into how the kind of team like formed around it.
Cool.
So Steamhounds is a turn-based tactical game where you control a squad of steampunk mercenaries, and you're basically being hired out by various shady groups and factions within a big kind of like fallen industrial city to do their kind of dark, like to do their dirty work for them, basically. So if you're familiar with like steampunk and with cyberpunk and things like Shadowrun, it's kind of similar to that.
Okay.
This place is ruled by these big factions or these big kind of corporation type entities, and they hire out people to um, go and do shady kind of stuff for them. So that's who the Steamhounds are. Um,
Okay.
and gameplay wise, it's kind of a mix between like a tactical, like grid based game and like a traditional JRPG.
Right.
Um, I guess the initial idea came around as kind of a mashup between Final Fantasy, particularly Final Fantasy X and
Okay.
XCOM. So I was playing
Nice.
the first of like the new XCOMs. Was that Enemy Unknown? I think that's the one. And there's a mechanic in XCOM called Overwatch, where at the end of your turn, one of your character's turns, you can put them kind of overwatching the battlefield, so that if any enemy moves in front of their field of view, they'll automatically take a shot at them.
Hmm.
And I thought about, okay, what if we integrate this kind of system with like a turn-based like JRPG style game? So instead of your character doing their big attack and then standing still until their next turn, you can put them in a stance which lets them react somehow to what's going on in the battle and maybe get extra attacks or do other kind of support stuff kind of between turns. So it's all a bit more dynamic and you'd have kind of chain reactions of these things triggering, right? So you can set up, for example, a character to support one of their teammates. So whenever their teammate makes an attack, they'll also jump in and attack too. Or you can have them kind of mark an enemy or watch over a certain area of the battlefield so that when somebody gets attacked there, they'll kind of contribute to that. And that was a kind of core premise or like the initial spark of the idea. So I started off making a very basic kind of prototype, like a functional but really ugly prototype of that, just to kind of prove that the idea could actually be pulled off and then it made sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seemed really promising. It was fun. I could already tell that like the core kind of nugget of what's good about the game was there, which was setting up these kind of combos and chain reactions with these
Yeah.
stances. So it was at this point that as part of my plan to like make sure I actually got this thing completed and out there, I thought it would be a good idea if I had like people to collaborate with to actually help me get it done, but B, people to kind of be accountable to. Right, it's a lot easier to see something through if there's somebody kind of hoping and expecting that you're kind of going to keep delivering stuff week after week.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of reason that I sought out people to collaborate with. So I made a post on Reddit of all places in one of the like looking for group subreddits. And I already had a basic like functional demo and some like gameplay footage of it. Like I know a lot of people posting looking for groups that aren't at that stage yet, so I felt like I was kind of ahead of the curve there by having something like tangible and there already. So I got a whole load of responses from like some pretty awesome and talented people, and it was through this process that I found first Paul and then Andrew kind of helped me work on the project. So both of their backgrounds are actually in audio, or at least partially so. So Paul, I think, he also has a kind of some background in computer science and also in like music production. So his title is essentially composer. Again, like I said, we're a small indie crew, so we all chip in on the design and the admin and all of the like planning and project type stuff. And then Andrew is a like a sound effects and audio guy, and he's also got some background in like writing in various forms, so like copywriting and kind of instructional design. So he knows how to kind of present information in a good way to people. So he's got some skills in that area as well. So we kind of formed up, and we've been working for about 2 years now together as Stray Basilisk on Steamhounds.
That's pretty sweet. That's a good story. I love Reddit. But yeah,
it can be like impenetrable, right? But once you know your way around, there's a lot of good, a lot of good stuff in there.
Definitely. So that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I always that question is kind of a guilty pleasure. I always love to hear about like the history of indie studios because it's always kind of interesting. Like I said, obviously this is the first time that I'm doing this, but I've had discussions in the past with people that have tried to start their own thing up, and it's just kind of the nature of the beast when you're the community manager. People are like, oh, I tried to make a game once and it went horribly and it's a waste of time and blah blah blah, all this and whatever. But there's always something interesting, and there's always an interesting story there, except my story. My story is really boring, but everyone else's seems cool. So
now I want to hear your story.
No, my story. I can waste maybe like a minute on it. So again, obviously I live with this guy. It's kind of been a wild ride. So I just graduated from college this past summer. Didn't go to school for anything computer related. I went to school for psychology, actually. Nothing that would have any help to an indie studio at the start. But
honestly, though, that kind of stuff can be useful, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's stuff you can take from that in terms of understanding how like players think or how to like present stuff to them.
Yeah. So it was an interesting background, and I was like, originally I was brought on as the community manager because it's like you can work with people, and um, I guess there's a bit more background, but basically I've been friends with this guy. We went to high school together and whatever. But I was in college, right? Like I'm away, and he's just like he messages me one day, and he's just like, I hate my job. Let's make a game. Like I'm like I haven't gone to a class in weeks. I got nothing better to do. Why not? Let's do it. And very quickly he realized there is not a bit of help that I could offer at the start because it's just like um, I didn't know a whole lot. So he doesn't have a formal education, doesn't have a whole like really background, but he's just one of those people that you put a problem in front of him and he solves it, and faster than you expected. Um, but he's been programming since he was like I don't even know like 10. He ran like a RuneScape private server at the age of 12 and like
Hmm.
did all the like reverse coding engineering whatever it's called for that and things of the sort. So he's just always been kind of doing that kind of thing. Website design at like 14. He's just kind of crazy, and he's like, yeah, I know Unreal Engine. I could do this. I'm like, all right, dude. And so the past like what is it now 7 months has been me just kind of trying to catch up. So I've been learning a lot of Blueprint and Blender and like Photoshop, just like designing stuff. I like didn't really have a background in any of this kind of stuff, but it's just been me trying to catch up and like be like, what don't you know that much in, and how can I make myself useful? Um,
Hmm.
but beyond that, like I said, I'm the community manager, so I run the social medias, which we are completely vacant on right now. Um, but yeah, so kind of just help where I can, and at the same time, I've just been learning a ton. So it's been a good time, mostly about
Yeah,
Unreal Engine. Um,
yeah.
but
And we've kind of said it a few times already, but most indies end up having to do that. Like from my point of
yeah,
view, I've never had any. I was never like super into social media. I didn't know anything about like community management or marketing or business. So I'm having to learn that whole
yeah,
side
seems
of
like
things
you're
now.
doing a
So
really good job from everything I've seen. So props on that. Uh, but
thank you. It could be
yeah,
it
so
could easily be a full-time job. If I would love to have somebody to just do this kind of stuff for us because
right.
you could put like infinite time into that whole side of things.
Yeah, it gets really crazy when you get into like the market research and stuff, like looking into your tweets and saying, why did this do well? And like this random post, why did this not even like no one saw this? Like what's going on? And yeah, it definitely becomes quite a bit, but it's pretty fun to do. Um, but yeah, it's been kind of this split thing because it's like work and then learning and then okay, we haven't done anything to reach out to the community in a while. What do I do now? And but most of that
Yeah,
stuff is kind of on the back burner right now. We kind of just ran into a situation where it's like the game we're making was just really just a pipe dream. Like it's this super in depth 3D shooter and all this stuff, and we're just like we just don't have the skill for this right now.
yeah.
As far
Like,
as
like
like the design of the game, like actual the programming, the the inner workings of the game, it's done. Like like
hmm,
mostly. Um, the problem that we run into is money. That's the problem. How how can we spend all this time making all these characters for a campaign and even just a multiplayer and getting voice actors and stuff like that? And so it's just kind of on the back burner right now, and we're probably actually starting a new project we've been talking about for a couple days now, because we've gotten decent enough with Blender, so we might be doing something here soon, but we'll
yeah.
see.
I mean, it's often a good idea to like put out smaller things if you can as well,
Yeah,
right? Because just going through the whole process of like designing, developing, and actually releasing something is super valuable experience, even if it's something pretty small.
right.
Um,
Yeah,
and this is the case of do as I say, not as I do, because I've never actually like launched something. So, but I hear this
yeah,
advice a lot: like start small, put something small out there. Even if you have a grand vision for like this great world or this whole project you want to build, if you can find a smaller part of that and make that into its own game or its own like mini thing, like that's pretty good
Yeah.
point to start with as well.
I think that's definitely the key too, and just building an audience, like finding people that like you for what you're doing and like what you're doing. That's the key too. Like that's why I've always just kind of been on the side of like, let's not hide anything. Like
Mm.
generally speaking, let's just kind of put as much as we can out there without like like streaming the entire process of making the game and that no one wants to play it. You know what I mean? Let's get as close to that as we can though. And
Yeah,
I
I know. I like to hear all these like inside stories of like stuff that goes wrong and see like the gifs of like crazy bugs and like glitchy stuff.
yeah.
I think a lot of people are into that. It's
Yeah.
kind of fun because
It's
the whole process of making games is like kind of magical and sort of mystical to a lot of people, right? It's kind of like wizardry. So having
yeah.
some sort of insight into that, I think, is pretty interesting. And I know, even though I have some idea of how this stuff gets made, I still hunt out like any like behind the scenes stuff because I love to see
Yeah.
what people's process is and like what their workflows like and
Right.
the
That's
problems and
definitely
like the horror stories and stuff they encounter along the way. I find that
yeah.
pretty interesting.
There's definitely lots. Yeah. It's fun though. Development is fun just in general. There's all these weird weird road bumps that you kind of run into and it's fun. And I think people like to see that kind of stuff more than like I can think back we were making I can't remember what it was, but it was some kind of like gun or thing that um like you bounced away from it, right?
Mm.
And I'm trying to think of the example. It was based off something. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But basically like someone throws it and it hits the ground and you're right here and you like bounce back, fly back or something like that.
Yeah,
And when we first designed it, it was just like this horrible thing and you just flew like millions of blocks out of the map and it was just like and uh we tweeted like a link of that and it like it didn't blow up, it wasn't like super viral millions of likes, but it was like one of our most interacted with tweets, and but we were posting like kind of random clips and stuff like showing some process and people are just like we don't really care. So
yeah,
um, while I have some downtime, really quick, I just want to talk. We have like a question in chat, and I kind of want to just say hi to everyone that's been talking. So GD Miller 95 asks, not sure if I missed, but what is the inspiration behind the game? So if you want to hit on that.
yeah. Hello, GD Miller. So if I had to boil it down to like two games, it would be Final Fantasy X and XCOM. So specifically in Final Fantasy X, I really liked. So I've kind of been into like turn-based like JRPG style games, like particularly like the ones with a more like pure turn-based system. So I was never super into like the active turn battle thing so much. I like games where you have to consider the turn order quite seriously. So in Final Fantasy X, there's a lot of stuff like um, looking at the kind of turn order coming up and thinking, okay, the enemy's going to do this attack, so I first need to like put the like reflect thing on this character, so when they get hit, it's going to bounce back. Or I need to heal this person because they're like in a zombie state, it's actually going to damage them. And there's all these kind of interactions with where the kind of sequencing becomes really important, and that's at its core like what I most liked about sort of those turn-based RPG style games. And then the other inspiration was primarily XCOM for its. I mean, that was the spark, right? Playing XCOM and seeing the Overwatch mechanic. I thought that was something really cool.
Yeah.
And since then, there's been a whole lot of stuff which we've afterwards like looked to for like inspiration. So more kind of indirectly. So one example is Darkest Dungeon. Like we take a lot of inspiration from them in terms of how they present the kind of theme and mood of their game. And if you look into how the details of like how stuff is put together, they're actually pretty smart in how they use their art assets. Like I don't know if you've played it, but each character pretty much has like an idle animation and like a single frame of attack.
Okay.
And yet it doesn't. You can kind of forget that it's like that because it all feels kind of very dynamic. They're quite clever with using like particles and glowy stuff and kind of motion tweens and things like that to like extract as much like juice out of that content as they can. So I kind of admire them for that, and just the general like presentation, which is kind of seeps into like every part of the game and like all of their trailers and promos and stuff like that. It's pretty awesome.
Huh. That's
Another
pretty
thing, another thing we often look at is Hearthstone. There, because our game is like a, I don't know if I've even mentioned this so far, but our game has a multiplayer focus. So it's like a PvP version of one of these sort of turn-based games, and there isn't much stuff you can look to directly for inspiration there. Like Pokemon's one thing because they're kind of like a JRPG turn-based thing, and they have like a sort of esports scene and like a online multiplayer component. But I suppose more popular, or when you think of turn-based multiplayer, it's often things like Hearthstone, now right, and like card games and stuff like that.
right.
And Hearthstone are really good about their whole UI and the way they present information, like the way all the menus fit together and all the transitions and all of the styling on pretty much everything there, like the whole game board thing they have and all of the cards and all of the effects. Yeah, they're like a pretty much perfect example of how to like theme UI, and we're still not quite there yet, but we're kind of looking to them for some inspiration there. Another game I've really liked recently is Into the Breach, which is by the guys who did FTL, which is a kind of grid-based tactical kind of game, and they're really great in how they very cleanly and clearly like present information. So kind of like them, we have like there's a lot of information to present to the player or that the player might want to understand. If we've got all these stances and reactions which can trigger, we want to make sure the player understands that and understands what just happened when some crazy combo gets pulled off, and understands like the state of all the characters in the battlefield and things like that. So we're looking to things like Into the Breach for inspiration about how to present information kind of clearly. Because when you get into the details of that, it's actually like pretty interesting and pretty complex.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and these are the things that these are the things which come to mind to me. But the other team members definitely have their own sources which they're drawing from, right?
Right.
Other like tactical RPG style games, like things like Banner Saga and Fire Emblem, are definitely things which we all love, and we draw at least subconsciously, like drawing some inspiration from as well.
Right. Definitely. I must say, you at the start of this, you said you've never done this or don't do this often. You're very, very good at answering questions. I just want to make that very clear. So while we're talking about questions, I have a couple more. Everyone in the stream can see I'm reading off my phone. I'm sorry, not that sorry though. All my monitors are occupied. Okay. So you mentioned previously that you were mainly using Java to make your game. I believe.
Yes.
Right? I have that correct, right? Okay. So I guess my question is, what is it like not using a traditional Unreal Engine Unity game engine to make your game? Because that seems like kind of the go-to in 2018.
Seems like a terrible decision, right?
No, not at all. No, not at all.
So there are reasons why we're using Java. Like they're mostly kind of historical reasons. So one, it happens to be something I'm pretty comfortable using and have experience in. Also, this game that we're making has a big like multiplayer component. So there's a whole like server-side, like cloud-based infrastructure kind of backing up the game.
Right.
And Java's like very commonly used in like the IT world for all that kind of side of stuff. So it allows us to use a lot of the same code in our client as well as like in the backend infrastructure very easily, which you can definitely do with things like C# and Unity, but it's Java's like pretty much made for that kind of thing.
Okay.
It gives us reasonably good like cross-platform support, at least for like desktop. So right now we run on Mac, PC, Linux, and it's kind of a secret, but we also have a build which runs on Android, although the UI is not like set up for that at the moment, but technically we can run on Android quite easily.
That's pretty sweet.
But that's also the downside, and that's probably the reason that if I was starting again today, I would probably just have gone with something like Unity, which is that they have really good cross-platform support.
Sure.
So people are already asking, is the game going to come out on Switch or like on iDevices? Because it would probably work pretty well on those kind of devices, those platforms. But as it is now, we'd need to do a whole load of porting work to get it to run on iOS or on Switch. So for that benefit alone, I would probably choose Unity if I was kind of starting again today. Other difficulties. So we're not doing anything too crazy in terms of like graphics. So we have a kind of retro like aesthetic. We do have some like 3D graphics going on, but they're not like super flashy, crazy shader based, pushing it to
Sure.
the limit kind of graphics. So performance wise, there's we're not doing anything in the engine which you could pretty much implement it in any language you like
Right.
feature wise. So it doesn't really hold us back there. If we were making like an FPS or like something a bit more modern graphics kind of focused, again, like something like Unity or Unreal would be a good choice there.
Definitely. So yeah, okay, so that makes sense. What was I gonna say? I had something that I wanted to say and I forgot. See, that's how you know someone's a good talker, is when I forget my thought. Because like if I have a thought in the middle of your thing and I forget by the end, that generally means that the rest of the information that you said was good enough for me to listen and forget what I was gonna say. That also just means I'm really bad at interviewing. So I'm gonna try to get better at that. Gosh,
But at least you're modest. So
yeah, that's true. Um, okay, how? This is a question for you. How long do I have you for today? Because I definitely want to get into gameplay.
yeah, I
Um,
don't really have a strict time limit, so I'm good to hang around for a good while more.
right. Oh, I was gonna say I do remember now. So you were talking about how like your game isn't like super like graphically intensive or anything like that. And I just wanted to clarify that like from my experience so far playing the game, which is limited. I've played a few games, but not a ton. Um, it seems to be that doesn't really matter to me. Like the enjoyment, and I will say this, your game is really fun. I haven't had a chance to play PvP yet, which I'm very excited to do. I'm very excited for you to stomp me at some point, whether or not it's tonight. Uh, Grant, you can get it now. We can play now. We're gonna play it on stream today. It's at alpha, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I think.
So right now we have a kind of alpha or playtest build out there. Right now it's just the kind of core like battle system of the game.
Mhm.
So you can play like a single match against a friend or against the AI. So what we don't have now is like so first thing is that our character roster is only 5 at the moment, and that's going to expand like quite considerably in the future. And also there's going to be more kind of structure around like the multiplayer experience. Like there's going to be some form of progression or like matchmaking and kind of ranking. There's going to be some sort of system there, and then also there is going to be a single player mode, which is something we're actually working on
Oh,
right now.
interesting. That's pretty cool. I like that too. I mean, are you planning on developing the story? Because you were kind of talking about the story earlier. Are you planning on doing anything with that in the
Yeah,
future?
so we're not aiming for something like a traditional JRPG, right, where there are a whole load of like fully detailed environments which you can walk around and like tile maps
Hmm.
and world maps and everything like that. It's going to be more um, so kind of like how Darkest Dungeon is structured, where you have like a home base which you're kind of maintaining and building up, and then you're sending your guys onto missions,
Okay.
and each mission will be a few battles. Um, but those missions themselves will have some kind of story in them, and it's going to be something like an interactive fiction or like a visual novel style thing, which kind of then drops into like set piece battles throughout that. So you'll get some like text and so, like an audio visual kind of thing,
Sure.
some nice like ambient sound effects and like illustrations of the characters and locations. And you'll be then making choices, like kind of choose your own adventure, like multiple choice style, branching storyline. And then throughout that, there'll be various kind of battles which you kind of drop into, like set piece kind of
Yeah.
battles. Some will be like kind of puzzle style battles almost, some will be like boss kind of encounters. And then that will form together like a story arc made of a whole load of missions.
That's really cool. I'm very interested to see where it goes in the future in that regard. But um,
Yeah.
let's definitely talk about the game now, because the game
Mm-hmm.
as it exists now is really really fun. Um, I I'm gonna go ahead and let's hope that this scene change doesn't mess anything up incredibly bad. But we're gonna get into some gameplay. I think. Um, so we're still visible. I think the edges aren't great, but it works. I think everyone should be able to hear us, and I think everything's okay. Um, did I break it? I think I broke it. Um, Hold on a second. Oh wait, let me see. Is it there? Does it exist? Please. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna close it, and we're gonna reopen it, and hope that that fixes the issue. Just bear with me just one quick second. So the game's fine. The game is running fine. The problem is OBS is not detecting it. So let's see here. Lol, don't lull me. Do not. Okay. Right there.
Yeah, so in terms of like release dates and stuff, while you're getting that up and running, so we have this kind of playtest demo out now, and we're just trying to like refine the core of the game and kind of gradually roll out new features. And then over the next year, we're going to be really ramping up into full production of like the rest of the content of the game. So I don't exactly have like a firm release date I can give anyone, but we'll be well into it in the next year.
What is happening? I don't understand. It's just showing a white screen, and I really just do not know why. This is why we don't use game capture. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have another choice. Okay, here's what we're gonna try. Okay. I have an idea, but it might break stuff a little bit. Okay, no. Drag this down. Okay, maybe we'll see how this works. This isn't really what I had envisioned, but we're gonna roll with it either way. Okay. It's not necessarily what I wanted, but it should work okay. So let's see here. Definitely want to close. We'll just leave it. Okay. While I log in, I'm not gonna show that. I'm going to. Oh, actually,
Yeah, so,
wait. It hides the password anyway. I kind of just remember that.
yeah. So right now, access to the demo is done via our Discord. So I'm sure we'll get the link out in some way. Maybe I'll drop it into the stream chat. But if you sign up to our Discord, then a bot will give you a link straight away. And we're using our Discord as like our hub for kind of finding people to battle against, and also for like collecting feedback and thoughts and like troubleshooting stuff about the game.
Right. Come on now. Maybe if I knew how to type. Okay. We have a game now. Yeah, okay, there you go. So that is where you can access the current build of the game and talk with the boys as well. So I'm just going to talk a bit about what I'm seeing here. So obviously you have the game title up top. You can see the Discord integration is how I didn't leak anything. Is how the login system is done, which I really love. By the way, I think that's super smart. And then
originally that was kind of intended to be just like a temporary thing to kind of get the demo out there. But we're considering maybe going like leaning even more into like the Discord integration.
Yeah,
and
I think
potentially making that like a core part of like the multiplayer experience. We'll see where that goes. But right now, Discord is working really well for us.
Yeah,
we've also just started running. We tried out running like a tournament on our Discord, so we have like a bot which can run like bracket-based tournaments or like points-based leagues and stuff, and we'll kind of send out notifications and like spectator links to all of the battles kind of going on. So we're trying to get a whole thing up and running there.
Yeah, that's super smart, and I think the tournament system for this is going to be phenomenal. I'm excited. Like I said, just from the few games that I've been able to play, I think that a competitive environment for this game is going to be killer. So let's get some audio in here. Don't want it too loud. Oh, come on. There we go. So the UI system works extremely well. Let's hope. Yeah, we're still fine. So you have 3 modes on this build of the game. You have obviously your main mode, right? I believe the PvP. So online, hot seat versus, which I definitely think we're going to be doing here.
So hot seat is
computer.
Yeah, so that means if you and a friend are literally sat at the same computer, you can just take turns on the controls.
Right. Which is super. I haven't actually looked yet. Does this have like controller support?
It will eventually. That's something we're definitely looking to do.
Okay.
Right now it's mouse. You pretty much don't need a keyboard except to log in.
Right.
So it's pretty much mouse at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I just think that would be a super cool thing, because like something that me and my friends do a lot is just like couch gaming. You know what I mean? And I think this would be really cool for that kind of tournament style where you're just with buddies and like, okay, you know, I'm the best player, so I'll play whatever, and you know, just kind of couching it out and playing this, I think would also be really fun too.
Yeah, like the whole way the multiplayer set up, it's almost more like a fighting game, like a Tekken or a Street Fighter, than like a lot of other things, right? So you at the start of the battle, you select all of your characters from the roster, and then you kind of get straight into a battle like that. So we're hoping you'll have that kind of feel.
Yeah, and then obviously we have the bot match, which I did want to hit on this a little bit. So how was the AI design for you? Because it seems to work fairly well. Obviously, I don't know, you know, the super complex strats or anything, but it seemed to be fairly intuitive.
Yeah, so it's kind of simplistic at the moment. You know, it's aware of like it can kind of prioritize who it wants to damage, and it's aware of kind of where different abilities will apply damage or healing, or potentially put themselves in danger if they go and jump on a trapped pile or something like that.
Right.
And then it just each turn it kind of works out. It's kind of short-sighted, right? It looks, for this particular move, what's the like best thing I could do in terms of like dealing damage or healing my team or not getting myself killed. So it doesn't like super plan out stuff. In the future, and especially in the single player mode, there's probably going to be more like set piece, like scripted stuff. So, you know, characters with specific patterns and kind of behaviors, which you may be more used to seeing in like JRPG boss battle kind of situations.
Right. Very cool. So I'm just going to jump into a bot match really quick, just to kind of show off everything. And if you want, we could do like a 1v1. I don't know. That'd be cool. So first thing I notice, everything runs and loads extremely quick, and that's all good and fun. So we'll talk about the 5 characters that are in the game right now. So we have the chemist. First of all, he destroyed me in the last game I played. I was just like, he's just healing everyone back up, and I'm just like, oh, whatever. This is, yeah, he broke me down to bits. Then we just have the warrior. We can kind of talk a bit more about this, but you can kind of see here the description of each character, and it's kind of implied what their skills are from their name, which is also a nice feature. So warrior, again, a bit more health than most of the other characters, and yeah, but doesn't, from what I can tell, doesn't really have any super crazy abilities that would make him like overpowered.
He's kind of so most of the characters are not direct copies of like the traditional classes you see in these kind of games. So the chemist is kind of a healer, but she's not just that. She's got quite a powerful damage dealing ability and some other interesting utility stuff to kind of messing with the turn order. And the warrior is kind of tanky, but he's also got stuff for like supporting and encouraging his teammates. So he doesn't necessarily need to be a frontline attacker as well, right? He can kind of stay on your side of the battlefield the whole game if you want, and just kind of boost up his teammates.
His team, right? Then we have the engineer. I haven't played the engineer yet, so maybe you wanted to talk about the engineer a little bit.
Yeah, so the engineer, and this is the case where you can see that some of our artwork is kind of placeholder, because he looks like a wizard or like a mage character to me. Ultimately, our vision for this guy is that he's more of like a mad inventor, like alchemist, Tesla kind of dude.
Right.
So some of these character designs will change. So we have two types of damage in the game. We have physical and elemental, and each character has different defenses against each of those. This guy's a kind of elemental attacker, and he's also got some stuff for like restricting your opponent's movement or like pulling them forwards or like forcing them to move and stuff like that.
Right.
But because so much of the game is about these stances and your kind of formation, we want to give the player tools to kind of mess with the way the opponent's kind of got stuff set up.
Definitely. And then you have the Berserker, who's just this insanely high health character. I really like the design for this guy, by the way. Really cool.
Yeah. It's pretty cool looking. So he's also got like a reckless angle to him. So he can deal a whole lot of damage and he's got quite a lot of health, but he's also got some stuff which can lead him to kind of injure himself.
Yeah.
Or which can potentially deal a lot of damage, but requires your teammates to like kind of shepherd him in and like control him to actually be able to execute that kind of stuff.
Right.
And off.
I noticed that earlier because the last game I played one game right before we got on, and I was like, I had a huge advantage, I thought. And then he did a 22 attack to me, and I was just like, and like one hit one of my characters, and I was just like, it was my ranger too, which was so annoying because like they have the self heal, and I was like, oh, like she has 20 L's, she's probably fine, and then he just comes in and wrecks me. So it was very unfortunate. So then finally, like I was just talking about, we have the ranger, who again, exactly what it sounds like, ranged character. From my play, seems to be pretty interesting. So what is the I guess the combo with the ranger? Like who do you really like to play kind of in unison with her?
Yeah, so I guess the ranger's basic concept is that she works quite well as like a lone wolf. So she's got like a self heal, like you say.
Right.
She's got like an evasive stance and she can attack from range. So she's pretty good at keeping herself safe. But she's also got a pretty useful stance called support, which is pretty simple. You target one of your allies with it, and then whenever that ally attacks, she'll jump in and contribute and attack herself.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of use her in combination with anyone who can attack. So a lot of the combinations, so right now the team size is 3, and a lot of the really good combos require like 3 characters to pull off. Right. So maybe you can do something where the ranger will support the berserker, and then the chemist will be like amping up the berserker to give him extra turns, so he attacks more often. Okay. And so the ranger's support like, procs more often as well. So a lot of the game is about trying to squeeze as much free damage you can out of your combos and your kind of free reaction attacks.
Right. Just finding that synergy kind of
deal. And there are hopefully lots of different synergies and different combinations.
Yeah, well, it definitely appears to be that way. Like I said, I haven't played the engineer yet, but from the builds that I've played, it seems like there's a bit of synergy between most of the characters. You can kind of find, but I haven't played enough to find the true meta. I've been popping in the Discord and seeing, though, I kind of love the discussion in your Discord and like talking about, I love these like chained, like attacks and abilities and stuff like that. And I like seeing that. The meta discussion is always a fun discussion. So
I have to give a shout out to Warwick, who I think is in the stream.
Yeah, I saw him earlier.
So he won the first tournament we held in our Discord, and him and a friend of his discovered a pretty dominant strategy. So we're kind of working behind the scenes now to like
nerf it.
Thinking about or so we're going to add more characters, right? So maybe we don't have to nerf it, but maybe the new characters we add can have tools to kind of counter that particular strategy, or maybe we can tweak things slightly to kind of break that dominant strategy, right? We want there to be like an ever evolving meta rather than like the one true way to win.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason we have this playtest build out there, right? Is that we want to find out what these things are and like kind of get the balance right before the thing is ultimately released.
Yeah. The ever shifting meta is something that can aggravate a lot of people. You're gonna get the people that are like, the game was better when it first came out. I hope you're ready for that.
That's true. But it's also what gives the game longevity, right?
Yes.
It's what gives it replay value ultimately, is if somebody just finds the best strategy and then you can always execute it. Then, well, there goes your like multiplayer scene, right?
Yeah, agreed. It's always I'm a big Overwatch player. I don't know if you've ever played Overwatch, but it's kind of this whole like when it came out. Oh, I can't remember how many heroes there were, but they've been adding heroes like a few per year, and everyone's just like, well, this game's just a stunning mess now, and I can't play the game as a main tank, and it's just like this. I want to go back, and it's just like, do you really want to go back to like everyone? What was I was reading something the other day where someone was just like, this is the worst game ever until the next one comes out, and then it's the best game ever. And that's kind of true with like updates too. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm playing this now and it's absolute garbage, but when the next one comes out, that was the promised land. Like that was the best game I've ever played. So people are never happy. That's kind of the reality of it. But
It's like the band's first album's always the best, right?
yeah,
But they can't keep just releasing the same album over and over again. So
yeah. Exactly. You brought up Warwick's. He followed earlier, so let me give a shout out to you. Thank you for the follow. I missed a couple. Dragon XP. I assume that was before stream, so I assume that's someone that knows about your game as well. But thank you for the follow as well. Sorry, just wanted to shout them out really quick. But let's get into a game. So I think, okay. So the last one I played Warrior, Berserker, Ranger, and
so those are the three like most straightforward like attacking characters.
Yeah.
We call them like the martial classes, right?
Okay.
The other two have a bit more of a utility angle to them, like the engineer and the chemist. So it's up to you if you want to experiment with something like that.
Let's experiment. Let's go. Okay, so let me see the chemist abilities again. Adrenaline boost. It takes their next turn immediately after you. So that seems like it would be a good synergy with Berserker.
Yeah, whoever your main attacker is, that's pretty useful. She's also got a stance which makes her faster, like herself. So she can speed herself up and then give extra turns to somebody else.
Okay.
So if you want to put her behind like a big beastly damage dealer, then
this is the person that wrecked me. That's what it was. That's why the Berserker hits, Berserker hit so much. That Vigor Potion, man. Double damage. He wrecked me. Oh my gosh. Okay. This looks good. So let's do this. Okay. And then I think I'm going to stick the try and true. We'll go Berserker, Ranger. So we're doing Chemist, Berserker, Ranger. Yeah, let's give that a try.
Yeah, that's strong. That's a good team.
So that's the pick phase, and then at the start of the game you have the position phase. So you can kind of and I don't really know what the meta here is either. I think when I played before, when I had it's the Warrior, right? I did Warrior, Berserker, front two tiles, and then I think I just kept the Ranger where she was.
Okay, so the Ranger's the fastest character by default.
Okay.
So and they don't have a Ranger on their team, so your Ranger's going to go first. So it doesn't really matter where you put her, since she's going to go first anyway.
Right.
I'm
sorry to interrupt you. Does the tiles, do they matter? Like if you have to journey across a far, like if you're on your back row and you're targeting someone on their back row, does that impact when you?
Yeah. Okay. So most of the significance of the tiles comes from the stances and abilities which are at play.
Okay.
So some of the stances affect certain tiles, and some of the abilities can like target certain tiles.
Right.
And you also get a bonus for being stood directly behind one of your teammates.
Okay. Oh.
But right now, like being in the back row or the front row doesn't inherently have any advantage or disadvantage. Okay. For some characters in the future, maybe we'll kind of integrate something like that. Sure. And also, obviously, if you're in the front row, then you can't then put somebody in front of you.
Right.
So if your Warrior's in the back row, you can't move somebody behind him to get defended by him, for example.
Right.
Something good to go with is so your Chemist has the ability which gives somebody else a free turn, but it only works if they're stood directly in front of the Chemist.
Okay.
On her turn. So you probably want to put her like directly behind the Berserker.
So would I go Berserker maybe front row? Is it really bad to stack like in one column? So if I went Ranger far back, Chemist middle, Berserker front, like all in the same column. Is
Again,
that
so again, it depends on who you're playing against. So the Ranger has like a explosive round, which does like a splash damage,
right?
which is pretty good for targeting people in a line. They
Okay.
don't have a Ranger, so they can't do that.
Really punish that. Okay.
So against this particular opponent, it's probably not much of an issue. So that's not a bad shout to maybe have Chemist at the back, then the Berserker in the middle, then the Ranger in front. Wherever you put her, she's going to get a chance to move anyway. So
Right, very true. So I think maybe okay. So we're gonna do ally attacks an enemy in the same row as you. Jump in the frame, strike that. So okay. So let's do this, and I'm gonna put him in the front.
mhm.
And then we'll go Ranger. Let's see. Pick an ally. I think we want. Yeah, so we'll do this. She can, I suppose, just stay there. It's kind of negligible. And then we'll do increase speed by 2 levels.
Yeah. So if you choose her like speed up stance, then she'll actually overtake the Ranger and have the first turn.
Oh, so maybe we
So
should
that's a pretty good start. Yeah, is to like put her right behind the Berserker.
All right.
And if you're doing that, then you should probably.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, you're supporting the Berserker with the Ranger, right? So I think you can see how this is going to unfold in the first turn here.
Interesting. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, so then at the start of the battle, everyone kind of assumes their formation and all of their stances activate.
Right.
So if you're against a human opponent, this is the first time you'd know what stances they'd chosen.
Okay.
So there's kind of like the prediction element there, right? Like you choose your team lineups without knowing what your opponent's chosen, and then you see each other's lineups, and then you choose your formation based on your opponent's lineup.
Okay. So let's see.
Yeah.
So what does the adrenaline boost do again?
So that will move the Berserker right up. So if you click Adrenaline Boost and then hover the Berserker's tile, you'll see the little turn order list at the bottom will like preview the effect of that.
Okay.
So it will basically move him right up to take his turn immediately. Which is good because your range is supporting him. So.
Oh, okay. So I should do that 100%. Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong start.
And then I guess we'll just. Yeah, I guess we'll just stay strong there. So I think. Okay, let's see. Oh, the unrelenting strike. Great. Strike an enemy. So is it? I feel like it's pretty strong just to go unrelenting strike, and then comboing next turn with the chemist.
Yeah.
Just to hit a huge combo, right? So I feel like I want to go unrelenting strike here, unboosted, and then do the double damage vigor potion, boosted plus the bonus damage, right? I feel like that's just
you want to get revenge for this like 22 damage which you took, right? You want to.
Yeah. Oh, I do. I'm still a bit salty. So let's see. So they have. The question is who to target. So like I want to target their utility first. But they both have the same health, so I feel like I just go for this guy in the front, mostly just because he's in the front.
So he's right now he's kind of levitating, so you won't actually be able to hit him with a melee attack.
Oh, makes sense. So we'll just. That's fine. We'll just hit this person then. Big. And then we will in the same row, so that doesn't do a lot for me. So we'll just do this. Stay there. Wow, so I get all 3 attacks with that first, so that's kind of huge. So trap. I feel like is it best to probably just take this turn to Gain 5
So you chose the using the impose stance with the Berserker. So yeah, it's up to you whether you want to like power up. So another thing we haven't talked about is focus, right? So your most powerful abilities you can't execute right away. You need to kind of charge up by
Right.
using focus first. So it's up to you whether you want to take a shot immediately or kind of power up for a more.
See, I feel like the thing is, like I very much have the more health, just because I have the berserker. So I feel like I can just play the long game, and just kind of get my most powerful attacks off the start.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
And then stance again. We'll continue to just do support. Yeah. Right. Was it worth it? I don't know. See, we eat those. We eat those for sure. We take that 6 damage. Oh, okay. Okay, so now we go for the wombo combo here. So we go Vigor Potion here. And then all adjacent. So with that, we'll just do speed. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can soak a few more hits before you need healing.
So now I feel like, oh yeah. So does this hit huge? Oh, so that hits huge there. Okay, I feel like that's definitely the way to go.
They kindly lined themselves up.
Yeah,
But, you know.
nice of them for them to do that. So yeah, and then we'll just keep supporting. So I think I can take out, even if it's tragic. Oh, the chemist gets another attack before.
Yeah, so because you used her speed up stance, she kind of slotted back into the turn order there.
Okay. So
here's a neat little trick. So in the bottom left of your kind of options here, there's something called delay turn.
Okay.
If you delay your turn till after the berserker, you can then adrenaline boost him immediately and give him another turn straight away.
Okay, and he still has the effects of the vigor potion, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that lasts for like one strike. So he's going to do one hit like after this turn, but then your chemist will be back up and can immediately give him another turn straight away. So you can
this turn to take
pretty much clean up here.
Oh, so I just select the berserker here, and it will
slide you back, so you'll take your turn after him.
Okay. Oh, I see that. Oh, yeah, the whole like turn phase right here. Okay, makes sense. So now we just say, GG, thanks for playing. Here's the question. Wait a minute. How much does the Rangers like support like a thing do? Is that like 6 to 8? I can't remember. Do you know off the top of your head?
It depends on the defense of the character.
Okay.
So probably like 10. This is going to be overkill, sure.
We do it anyway, though. I feel like for the person advantage.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to overkill this one, or do you want to get some good damage on like one of the others?
Right.
Because you could almost take one of them out.
I did. I hit him for 30. I hit him for the max. Well, whatever. At least we knew. We know. Yeah. So we'll just keep on keeping on with this. So now the adrenaline again, and then here we go, dude. I don't think that's worth. I think we keep going with Unrelenting Strike.
Yeah. So the brawl ability is useful when your opponent has a way to avoid being hit. So like that will brawl will break through the levitation of the engineer if he was using that. Or if the ranger's got like their evasive stance, then it basically guarantees you a hit
Okay.
at the cost of like taking some damage yourself.
Right.
So right now you don't really need to use it because they're kind of exposed.
Oh, right. Same row. I forgot about that. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. But yeah, man, that does quite a bit. I guess we'll see if they decide to target him again.
So one thing, if you look next to their portraits, like near their health bars, each of the characters has a little black and white icon which shows their active stance. And if you hover over that,
Oh.
it will show you kind of any tiles which are kind of affected by their active stances. So if you're wanting to check, oh, is my opponent's like Sentinel gonna trigger if I attack here, you can kind of check that stuff there.
Right. That's smart. That's a really cool feature, though. I like that. Well, we can take a quick shot. If we trap, though, like the question is are they going to try to go back to the back row?
Yeah. So I'll tell you now, the AI is smart enough at least not to jump on a trap, and you don't right now have any characters who can force them onto it.
Okay.
So you pretty much are going to need a team build which allows you to force people to move if you're going to do like a trap, really.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So we just. Oh, okay. Easy. Carlos. My cats are so annoying. Yeah. Okay. You stay there. And then just drop this guy. Yep. That might be semi-useful. We'll just rock this. So we can heal our homies up. Okay.
Honestly, I think you have this in the bag, but
yeah, I think so. I don't know. I've been known to throw before, so did I use Unrelenting Strike before? I think I did. Yeah, so we'll just thanks for playing. Yeah, I think this is basically a wrap. This went better than my last game.
question is, can you apply what you've learned and defeat the master?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I have a chance in the world against you. But who knows? Maybe maybe I'll get lucky. But I have a strong feeling you're probably gonna 3-0 me.
I will say I'm not the best player at my own game.
Really?
Like, there are people on the Discord who can beat me pretty reliably.
Really? Okay. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure it really matters, but in fact it didn't at all. He had the next attack anyway. Yeah, whatever. Cool. Yeah, whatever. Oh, what is that? Oh my gosh. Big attacks.
Yeah, so this is why we said that Berserker's like a reckless kind of character.
Definitely. Can confirm he is very reckless. Huh. Oh, well. Unfortunate. And Just keep attacking. Only hits for 5. Come on. Come on, bruh. Alright. So let's see. Oh, wow. Huh. Okay, so I kind of see where the forcing people onto squares can kind of start to evolve, but I feel like we just do this. Very interesting. Oh, okay. All right. Come on, let's get the... Oh, he's... Right. He's defending. Can't quite get him yet. I mean... Thanks for playing. AI. Appreciate your time. Okay. Yep. There it is. Easy, dude. Yeah, maybe not easy, but wow, that's fast. Just straight back. Holy cow. Well, do you wanna try to be the master?
Yeah, we'll see. Who's becoming a master.
uh,
So the way online battle works is that if you click the button, it will give you a link.
okay.
So it's kind of like inviting someone to a Discord server, actually. So if you click the button, then it should give you a link, and you can paste that into a chat.
Okay.
And then
This might.
link that up.
Oh wait, no, I think we're good. Yeah. Okay, I sent it to you in our chat.
Okay. Okay, I got that.
Oh, your mic is starting to get angry at me.
Oh, ready? Okay.
It's making this interesting buzzy noise.
Okay, maybe this is mine. Let me try and fix this.
Oh wait. Oh, it seems extremely random. I'm unsure what's causing it.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes. But it's very strange. It's very like it's random. It almost sounds like there's like a fan on or something. I don't know. It's okay. We'll deal with it.
Okay.
Oh wait, this you can see which characters I'm picking.
I'll look away.
Quick.
I'll pick. See what
Yeah, I'm very unsure what that noise is. It might just be Discord. I don't know. Oh. Oh, okay. Oops. Let's try again.
Yeah, that's probably so. It's still an alpha, so these things happen.
Hey, Ian. Yeah, mic issues. I understand. Oh, do you? Good. Okay. Oh. Interesting. Okay. Hmm. Oh, I have to lock my position. Sorry. Okay. All right. All right. Best of luck to you. You are
And
facing
yourself?
the best person on this game. So, I wish you the best. But I think I have a winning strategy here.
I feel like I've maybe made a mistake by leaving my engineer out in the open straight away.
I don't. Is that what I'm gonna do? I don't know. Or are you trying to bait me? Uh,
My lips are sealed. I can't confirm or deny that.
hmm. I think I know. Man. No, I think I know what I want to do. I think I know. Yeah, I think that was good. I think. We shall see. Ian, no. Okay. Okay. Oh, interesting. Well, we can both play that game. My friend Ian says hello. He wanted me to let you know.
Hello, Ian. I'm keeping quiet because I'm being fiercely competitive right now. So
Oh, completely understandable. There's some very big attacks coming my way. uh, no.
yeah. So when you're playing against a human opponent, it's much more tight. And
Yeah.
against the AI, it comes down to like if you screw up and you don't use it, then it can be game over.
I think this is worth. I think because the shot, yes, comes through. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Uh oh.
Just made a big mistake.
Oh, you're so lucky. It could have been worse, I think. Well, might as well. Yeah, these. Whoa. It's a bit much. Okay. So what I think. Yes, I think. Okay. Oops. Sorry, chat. Huh. Okay. Oh, yeah, we trade this. We trade this. Yeah.
No.
Yep. Yep.
Feel like I may have lost this one.
It's all RNG, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So one thing in this kind of game is it's nice to think that when you lose, you know why you lost. Right? 'Cause
Yeah.
at least if you know why you lost, it kind of feels fair.
Right.
I can definitely pinpoint two like major mistakes I made. The first one is that I left my engineer out in the open on the first turn, like in the opening formation. I should definitely have had him. He's too squishy. I should definitely have had him like bended, like levitating, like standing behind somebody. The second mistake was I moved my chemist into like the middle lane, like in line with your berserker. When you had your stance active, your tunnel vision, which meant you got an extra kind of attack.
Yeah.
There. True. So this is down to my screw ups, but you've executed this pretty well, I must say.
Yeah, decently. I feel like this these three are very strong, for sure.
My new challenge to myself is, can I take out one of your at least one?
I think it's definitely feasible. I don't know, it'd be tough. But yeah, that's but this will hurt a little bit. It's double. as well, plus the shot.
Oh.
Oh man! Oh, oh, RNGesus. Come on.
43 damage in one attack.
Right. uh, you remember Genie Miller from earlier?
Yeah.
He said his phone died, and he wants to know if he missed anything good. Um,
Yeah, he missed me schooling Cody like 3 times.
Oh yeah. Well, GG.
Oh, GG. Yeah.
I definitely feel like having the Berserker is just uh it's very huge when you can hit that, or if you, I should say, if you can line up that the ability that does like 70% more, and you can sync that with the double damage vigor potion. Man, is that rough, because that can one
Yeah,
hit squishies theoretically,
pretty much.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
We've seen
pretty.
people doing like definitely 50 plus damage in one attack.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but yeah, that's definitely a hard thing to counter.
Yeah.
That's why I
The trick
went.
is like
Oh, go
like
ahead.
there are counters to him, like he's weak against elemental damage. So what I
Okay.
should probably have done was, or what I was planning to do before I let my engineer get killed was so the engineer can pin you to a tile and the chemist
Uh,
can set it on fire, and he's
right.
weak to elemental damage, so
Makes
he can go
sense.
down easily to that kind of strength.
But if you don't have the time to get those attacks off,
Yeah,
yeah.
it often comes down to that, right? If you can survive long enough to get like your one big attack off week 2, then you kind
Right.
of turn the tide. But
Yeah, definitely. Now, Grant, let's clarify. I think I'm the best player on this game. Correct? No, I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. But uh, I won, so But it was definitely. I feel like composition wise, you were at a bit of a disadvantage, um, early, right?
yeah,
Like if you
like like
if
what like one thing we're still thinking about is how to format like tournaments and stuff. What the I guess format's the right word should be, like in
yeah
terms of picking and like doing best of 3, or like do you have to change up your team
yeah
between rounds and stuff like that. So that's
well
also something I'm going to work on to like even out the kind of meta. And
right. And I don't know exactly how many characters you plan on adding, but I think if you have a pretty substantive character pool, it'd be also worth thinking about banning as well.
yeah, like a pick ban kind of thing. That's something else
Because
we've
that's something that can just balance the meta before you're able to introduce something. You know what I mean? Like if there's just something that's super OP, like everyone's just like the composition I just ran is super OP. Okay, well then we can just say, you can't do that anymore.
yeah
That's some devs like that choice. Like you see that in League of Legends where they allow bans, but other things like Overwatch, where a lot of people think it'd be useful to have like a couple of character bans in, scrimming and like pro matches. They're like, no, we don't want that. Like the whole point is, to be able to play every character, and what's the point if, whatever. So it's kind of that gray area, but something to think about for sure.
yeah yeah.
Um,
So you asked how many characters, or you talked about how many characters we're going to have. Ultimately, we're looking for like more than 10, like for like the 1.0 kind of launch. So
okay,
like
nice.
12 characters or something like that.
Yeah, that seems really good
And
for sure. Definitely seems like it's always hard, and I feel like it's game based. It's always hard determining what is the best amount of characters, because some games like League of Legends, for example, is a game that benefits a lot from having so many characters. But like other games, would I feel like the gameplay would be a bit stymied if you have that many, characters. Like this, for example, there are a lot of different synergies that you can kind of look at, and I feel like if you just had this like 100 character pool, it would be just like kind of crazy, and might take away from that whole PvP element that makes the game so good.
yeah,
Um,
we want it to feel more like like a Tekken or a Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
Where you have maybe like a screen full of characters to pick from,
Right.
but it's not like super overwhelming that there isn't a huge like memory game of like even remembering what abilities the different characters have. We want enough that there's lots of different synergies and different viable builds, but not too many that it's overwhelming. And also just in a practical sense, like it takes time to add and like test and balance
Oh, sure. Yeah.
characters. So
Absolutely. I think it's in a really good place, though. I think, like, obviously, you said you plan on having like 12 characters. I think when the official release happens, something like that.
something like that, yeah.
So I think, obviously, as it sits, it's kind of like a, you only have 5 right now, but I think as it sits, it's very like well balanced. Um, and I think I'll be interested to see if that is maintained once you double your character pool. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
but
Yeah,
it's very fun.
I
Ian,
think
you
as long as the
can.
characters have, oh,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but he was saying that he would play it, and I said you can. Uh,
awesome.
can I get another link? I think I can just grab. Do you mind grabbing another link and throwing it in
Yeah, no
chat?
problem.
Just for people that are interested. If I click on another screen, your camera's going to go away and it's going to throw off the overlay and it's going to be this whole
Okay.
mess. And so, anyone in chat, if you're interested in playing the game that we just played, click that link that's in chat and give it a try. So basically, it's a Discord channel, and once you pop in the Discord channel, a bot messages you with ways to download the game and gives you a password and everything. And then you can set up your own after that. It's really cool. Like you guys did the whole Discord integration extremely well. Like it was one of those things where I found you guys on Twitter, and
Mhm.
within 5 minutes, like was in your Discord server, had a link and a profile set up for the game, and it's done very well. Like everything from what I can see is done very well. There's some minor little things that are like kind of whatever, like the fact that my Discord name pokes out of that green or gray box,
Yeah,
like it's whatever, but the game plays really well, and that's what matters, especially in an early build. You can work on the other little things later. That doesn't matter. The key is what you guys have done really well, and that's the gameplay. And so I'm a
no,
big fan.
it's really good to hear that. We're definitely we're focused on like the core gameplay and the kind of battle
Yeah,
mechanics right now. I think we have something solid there. Like we've started
definitely.
taking the game out to kind of live events and like expos and cons and stuff and showing it around. And we normally get a pretty positive response there.
It's a very fun game.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely. And I love that you guys are encouraging the the PvP aspect, because I think that's such a cool thing. And it just it plays phenomenal. The PvP style is very cool. Have
Yeah,
have
for
you
whatever
guys?
reason, there's just not too many games who've kind of explored that angle right in this.
Yeah, especially in this
I'm not
genre.
quite sure. There are definitely like design issues and challenges which come about because of that, right? Like, so for example, we decided to lean away from like leveling up your characters, which is something you might expect from like a game which kind of looks like a JRPG.
Right.
But if you're trying to do like online competitive play and like matchmaking and stuff, then having like character leveling and your characters like getting more powerful on top of that, it kind of becomes a mess and like impossible to
Yeah.
find a good
To
matchup
really
for somebody. Right?
definitely. What
Also,
was it?
things like the effectiveness of healing is another thing which we've changed. So because it's something played online, you need to have the match like wrap up within a reasonable amount of time.
Right.
So right now we're trying to have matches last about something like 15 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. I
So
think
in
the
a way,
match time is perfect
awesome.
for me.
Really good to hear.
I guess I don't know what other match times would be like, but it seems really, yeah, it seems really good for where it sits right now. Yeah.
Yeah. The average is like 15 minutes or like just under that. Like
Okay.
in an earlier build, we had a more kind of traditional healer character who just had like a basic, like straight off like heal ability,
Right.
and that led to kind of matches dragging out. So then we ended up implementing other things to try and like counterbalance that. And we decided now to kind of, you see that our chemist, she can heal, but you can't just you can't like revive characters at the moment, and you can't just continually like kill them and keep the whole team at full health.
Yeah.
That's not really a strategy which we can let happen because it just doesn't work in like a live multiplayer kind of
Yeah,
game.
definitely doesn't work well. I agree completely. Um, I think a question, or I guess maybe not necessarily a piece of advice, but oh, here, let me shift the scene back since we're just chatting again. But I don't know, a tidbit. I think it'd be really cool to have when you're doing the PvP, having some
Hmm.
sort of chat integration, whether it's just text chat or
Yeah,
even voice, if that's feasible. I think that would be really cool, and it would add to that whole competitive element. Um,
yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. Like right now, most Discord is kind of doing okay for us. Like most people who are battling each other are kind of doing it via our Discord, so they kind
right.
of have that
Oh,
channel
true.
to chat. But ultimately, yeah, we kind of plan for there to be something in game, and I guess we'll wait and see whether Discord will be enough or whether we need to kind of add some like in-game stuff as well.
Right.
Yeah. We're
Very
also
cool.
trying to add features and kind of support to help streamers as well. So,
Oh,
for example, we
nice.
have a spectator mode. So, if somebody else had have clicked on that link which you sent me for that duel, then they would have ended up spectating the battle.
Oh, wow.
So we're
That's
thinking
really
about
neat.
like how somebody who wants to stream like a tournament, and in fact we had somebody in our Twitch like stream the tournament that we did.
Really? Well, that's really
Um,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah, that's really smart. It's definitely a needed thing in 2018. Having something that, again, like we talked about earlier, something that sets you apart. You know.
mm,
But yeah, I think this game is really fun, which I have played a lot of games recently that I have just been kind of like and the fact
mm,
that the first game that I found for this kind of indie showcase is one that's really well made, really fun, and does some things that I haven't seen in gaming in a while. Big fan,
mm.
so it's good.
Awesome. No, that's really good to hear.
Yeah. I guess if there's anyone in chat and you have a question or anything like that, anything that you would like to say, now would be a good time for that. Um, but while we're just sitting here, if you haven't
Mhm.
already, join the Discord from the link that Jason had posted earlier. Get this game so I can destroy you. Be much appreciated. Um, actually, do you guys have any more tournaments planned soon?
Um, so we're definitely hoping to do some stuff like that in the near future. Like I said, somebody um, kind of dominated the previous tournament with a certain strategy, so we're going to make some kind of gameplay tweaks, kind of in
Oh,
response to
nice.
that, because we don't want the same strat to kind of win out
Sure.
like quite so decisively again. So we're thinking about maybe introducing another character before we do the next tournament, or at least some switching up some of the abilities somewhat
Very cool.
over the next few weeks, like maybe in December. It kind of remains to be seen exactly when that will be
Right.
done. Um, yeah, but we're really interested in kind of running tournaments and trying to get some activity
Yeah.
going on the Discord.
I think it's a great idea for sure. We do have one question. Do you have a date for
Mhm.
official release?
So we don't have a date yet. So we're still at the point of um, trying to raise funds or like maybe connect with a publisher or something like that to kind of flesh out the rest of the content and all of the artwork we need for kind of the full game. So we're looking to be like fully ramped up into production uh, next year. Exactly when release will come, or whether we'll do like a kind of early access thing, or whether we'll just wait for like a full version one release, we're not quite sure yet. But over the next year, I can't really make any promises because we don't
Sure.
quite know what it mean.
No, that's okay. I will definitely try to keep my friends and community up to date as much as possible.
Awesome.
Hope we can plan some stuff in the future. Definitely let me know when you guys end up doing your next tournament because I'd love to play and do a little stream or something as well too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had uh, like maybe 8 people taking part in the tournament. We did a little knockout. No, not a knockout. Sorry, we did like a league, a points-based thing where everyone played everyone else, and
Oh,
had
okay.
somebody streaming it, and it was a lot of fun.
Very cool.
And it went pretty smoothly, to be honest. So I'm kind of keen to do something like that again.
Very cool. And then he also wants to know what regions are you focused on the most? Is it worldwide? Are you focused on EU because that's where you're
Yeah.
based?
Um, So we're kind of based in the US and in London. So I guess we have bases in like Europe. Well, for the time being in Europe and in the US. Um, so I guess that's our focus. I mean, we're going to release it worldwide. We're not specifically trying to cater to like the Asian market, for example, which is the thing that some games kind of aim for. Um, yeah.
Right. Very cool. Do we have anything else in chat before? I guess probably a good time to maybe wrap it up. We've been streaming for almost 2 hours. We had talked before and we were like, yeah, around an hour would be pretty good, an hour and a
Yeah.
half. But you know, yeah. Okay, well, it looks like that's about it. First of all,
Awesome.
plug all of your stuff, and then I'll
Okay.
do a selfless plug for YouTube and whatever. But yeah, you go
Yeah.
first.
So you can find us on www.straybasilisk.com. That has links to pretty much everything you need.
Oh, here, let's
Um,
pull that up.
Also, our Twitter, we're at Stray Basilisk. So Twitter's probably the best place if you want like little updates, like every few days, like we post GIFs, kind of progress updates and stuff. You check out our website. We also have like a mailing list. Sign up if you only want to hang around for like the big announcements. So that's where I like the launch announcements and any like real big stuff will go. But really, if you're interested in getting hold of the game right now and being like involved in playtesting and becoming part of the community we're trying to build, then the Discord is the place you want to be. So that's how you get access to the demo. That's where we do all our kind of gathering feedback and troubleshooting. And me and the other devs are pretty much always on there, and we're always happy to chat with people. Yeah. So Twitter, website, Discord.
The website is really well put together, by the way. Looks good. So yeah, so that is Stray Basilisk and Jason, and the game we played is Steamhounds. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find all of the links to this way to Stray Basilisk's information down in the description. If you are interested in this series, I guess I didn't really ever talk about what this series was. Indie Showcase is a new thing to this channel. This is episode 1, where we showcase indie developers and studios and their current projects. And if you've made it this far in the video, you know what it's about. This is kind of what it's going to be. So if you enjoy, head over to my Twitch and hit the follow button. Subscribe on YouTube. We'll be posting, I think, all of these on YouTube. I wouldn't see why not. But yeah, like I said, definitely check out Stray Basilisk. The Discord is where you can get access to the game. If you get access to the game, let me know on Twitch or in the Discord. I'm in the Discord. I'll be chatting in there, I'm sure, because I'll be playing this game. I see myself playing this game quite a bit. So if you want to get dominated, definitely just at me in the Discord. My Discord name is the same thing, and I can be sure to teach you a thing or two about what Jason experienced earlier, and that's that I'm the best player of this game. So no, but in all seriousness, Jason, I appreciate you coming on and chatting with me. I had a really good time, and I think this is a real good first episode, showcasing a really good game. So thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah, thanks, Cody, so much. It was a good chat. My pride is somewhat bruised because you defeated me so convincingly, but we'll have a rematch at some point, and I'll try and
we definitely will. I mean,
reclaim what I can of my pride. And thanks everyone in the chat for your questions and stuff as well.
Absolutely. So be sure to check him out. And yeah, I hope to talk to you again soon, Jason. I'm excited to see where the game goes.
Awesome.
Talk to you soon, man.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. So, like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube or anything, be sure to check out all of the links down in the description. That was a fun game. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. I think we have another game on the line for next week, but I will be posting more information on that on my Twitter. So if you don't follow me, I am also at Cody Marshmallow on Twitter, so you can find more information there about when we'll be doing this again. But thanks again for everyone from the Stray Basilisk community for coming in and showing your support. And thanks for all the follows and everything. It's much appreciated. If you're interested in this kind of thing, definitely hit the follow button because we'll be doing this hopefully a bit more. Like I said, I already have another game lined up, so we'll be doing this again soon. But yeah, I had a fun time, and I hope you guys did too. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.